Ladies and gentlemen, this is the new Duke 160. It replaces the Duke 125 as the most affordable Duke in the family. Now, this is not only the most powerful 160cc in the segment, but they've calibrated it to be even more aggressive than the Duke 200. Question obviously remains, how does it perform? And is this now the new segment benchmark? Let's find out. So ladies and gentlemen, let's start with the design. And as you guys can already see that it does have a familiar silhouette to the rest of the family, but there are subtle differences which make this unique. Let's start with the design itself. It does have a sharp looking front end and a rear end as well. Even these elongated, sharp tank shrouds give it that mean appearance that we are familiar with. Of course, there are some differences. First and foremost, you have the rear wheels. Now, these are a 140 by 60 section tire as compared to 150 by 60 in the Duke 200. And you'll also see that you now get the bionic wheels with the hollow axles, which you used to get in the RC. Now, this is been done because the disc size has increased to 320 mm as compared to 300 mm in the Duke 200. Now, if you come further back, you'll find that the pillion seat is 10% larger as compared to its competition, and that is what KTM claims. Now, another point of difference with the Duke 160 as compared to the Duke 200 are the color options available. Here, you have three options. One is this, the electronic orange. Then you get an Atlantic blue, which is a mix of white and blue. And lastly, you get the silver metallic matte. That is what you want for a mean, subtle look. This is in your face. For me personally, these are the KTM colors, and this is what the Duke 160 looks best in. Now, I did mention the differences in the design, but the Duke 160 is a whole 12 kgs lighter than the Duke 200. One of the main reasons is the frame. You get a lighter frame. The frame itself is the same, but the tubing is a little thinner as compared to the Duke 200. I did mention the wheels. Now, these have a hollow axle that also helps with the overall weight. Next, you have lighter 37 mm WP Apex forks that also has the WP Apex, but the outer tube again has been thinned down as compared to the Duke 200. Then you get cast iron foot pegs, you get a lighter rear radial tire, and the grab rails are also lighter as compared to the Duke 200. Overall, I think this is a motorcycle which has been optimized to fit in with the Duke family, but they've tried to make it a lot more aggressive, and making it lighter is a part of that process. If you quickly touch upon the features, well, they remain largely alike. You get switchable ABS, you get LED lights up front, you get LED lights at the back. However, in terms of the instrument console, well, this is an LCD unit which you got from the older Duke 250, which now gets the color TFT. Here you get the LCD display, but you also have turn-by-turn navigation and phone connectivity as well. Now, another point of difference here is the turn-by-turn navigation and the phone connectivity on the LCD screen is an optional extra as compared to it being standard on the Duke 250 with the color TFT screen. If you look towards the handlebar on the left, you'll find that the switch control unit is the same as that you got in the Duke 390. With this, all the information that you need is easy to find. The LCD control unit itself is pretty dim. It's not peak sunlight yet. It's pretty clouded, but still the small number unit display is quite difficult to read. If I navigate through the menu right here, you'll see that the font is pretty small, and you will stress your eye a little bit to get all the information and to soak it all up. However, it's still easy to find all the information and the settings that you need. You have the ABS settings right here for the road. You can even switch it to supermoto mode, which switches off rear ABS. And that is something which is common across all the other bikes. Then you also have the settings for your favorites, for the shift light. Overall, I think this is a pretty neat looking unit. However, I wish it had better readability. Well, all right then, let's get this journey started. Now, the whole point of this motorcycle is that it's supposed to be an aggressive, small capacity motorcycles. Whereas the Duke 200 can be said that it may be for a more comfortable, practical, everyday user of the Duke. This is supposed to be an aggressive small capacity motorcycle, and it kind of feels like it. And that is also evident from the final drive ratio, which I mentioned earlier. You get a 46 tooth and a 14 tooth as compared to a 42 tooth and a 14 tooth in the Duke 200. Now this is a 165cc single overhead cam unit which makes 19 bhp and 15.5 newton meters of peak torque. And in typical KTM fashion, I think it does tend to pick up slow, but it manages to pick up speed later in the rev range. If I do compare it, it's not as quick off the line as its competition like the Yamaha MT-15 or even the Duke 200, whereas the former gets a variable valve actuation, the Duke 200 gets a double overhead cam configuration. Both of them, I feel, help the motorcycle in low speed capability. It does get a slipper clutch to optimize gear shifts. And thanks to a lighter flywheel, the engine picks up speed quickly and even helps in efficient rev mashing during downshifts. Now, KTM claims that it can do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, but honestly, it doesn't feel as fast as those numbers suggest. However, what's great is the fact that how tractable the power delivery is. It tends to pick up speed at low RPMs in higher gears. For example, in fourth gear at 4000 RPM, it can be between 40 to 60 kilometers per hour all day long without any hesitation. And again, in typical KTM fashion, the engine does tend to run hot. The heat management is well controlled, but the radiator fan keeps coming on every 5 to 10 minutes. And KTM again claims that this radiator is about 49% larger than its competition. But again, maybe they could have worked on the thermal management a little better. Overall, it's fun and it's decently quick for an everyday Duke. And I also like the fact that KTM has given it switchable rear ABS. With that, even if you switch off the engine completely, even with the main switch, when you turn it back on, the rear ABS tends to stay off. Next, we come to what I feel, and in my opinion, is its forte, the handling. That's where it truly shines. Now, the front USD has been carried over from the Duke 200, but it has been shortened and the rake angle has also been sharpened up. Along with that, thanks to a weight saving of 12 kgs in all the right places, it's agile and easy to handle, mainly in the city. This, in fact, I think is turning out to be a great little everyday runabout. Now, KTM offers MRF tires with Rev Z radial tires at the back. Despite the rear being smaller than the Duke 200, it never felt lacking in traction, composure, and always managed to feel planted. In my opinion, I think the Duke 160 is pretty great in terms of comfort too. It does get the same suspension components, as I said, with the Duke 200, but it gets added wheel travel. 47 mm at the front with the USDs, and at the back you get 8 mm of extra wheel travel. And this, I feel, has given it better pump absorption capability. Again, like the performance of the engine, I think this is a great little everyday runabout in terms of comfort, practicality, and performance too. But if you look at the price, yes, it is a bit steep. But if you look past the price and look at all the things that you get, it's not the best, but I think it's ideal if you want yourself a fast, fun KTM Duke. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do we think of the new Duke 160? Of course, as I mentioned, the price is a little steep, but it does tend to make up for it in the fun factor that you get. Again, even in terms of features, it does feel a bit lacking compared to its competition and even the nearest Duke member, which is the Duke 200. And it's not that far off in terms of price with the Duke 200. That costs about 2.07 lakh. This costs about 1.85 lakh. Yes, 20 to 30,000 rupees is a bit of a number, of a jump for some people. And if you're in the market who's a relative newbie and you want something that will really hone your skills, I think the KTM Duke 160 is going to best prepare you for further, better, faster motorcycles. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, tell me in the comment section down below what you think of the Duke 160, and also how do you think it compares against its main competition, which is the Yamaha MT-15, or even its older brother, which is the Duke 200. And I leave you guys at that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys very soon.